Strong and the Geek. The Strong and the Geek. The Strong and Geek. Alright, that's enough of that.
Alright. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first episode of the new year of the Strong and the Geek podcast, where we talk TV, comic books, movies, and video games here with two very special, friendly boys.
Is that the first time that we've actually sung, on there?
Probably.
No, if we go back in time, we've probably sung a few times.
I am your host, Ben Ramirez. With me today is your special guest co-host, President-elect, in her mind, Hillary Clinton.
Not President-elect in her mind, Hillary Clinton. I thought you were going to say not the New Year's baby. You know how they have the little baby on the New
Baby
Year's?
New Year.
Yeah, is that his name?
Yeah.
So it's actually
There's Father Time and Baby New Year.
It's actually a couple days after the New Year, but obviously this being our New Year's episode, New Year, New Us.
Yeah.
I figure we play a game.
Well, first, I just want to point out that a little something, as you guys might be able to tell, new year, new equipment.
I mean, hopefully you can tell. If not, well...
Yeah, we have some new sound equipment in here, and a big shout-out to the writers for providing us with this equipment. That's a father-son band right here from Central Pennsylvania. I want to give a big shout-out to them. Make sure you check them out and figure out their tour dates so you can go see them live. They're great.
Yeah, not to be confused with the Ghost Riders from the Marvel comic books.
Yeah, or a ghost writer, who is someone who writes a biography for someone else, but secretly.
Yeah. Or the writers, which are just any group of people who write things down.
Yeah, or the producers, which is that movie about a play.
La La Land.
Or that other movie about a play.
Pianist.
All right, so, you wanted to start with a game?
I did, and I was thinking we can keep it nice and simple and obviously festive, as we do on our holiday specials. How about we go with just what is your geekiest New Year's resolution? Something you're trying to get done in 2017 that could constitute strong and geek status.
I absolutely know what my geeky New Year resolution is.
Okay.
It's to play more video games.
Anything in particular? Or?
Well, I have a hard time, I like to carve out time to play video games, but I subscribe to GameFly, which is a pretty good service.
I didn't know that was still a thing.
Oh, yeah, no, totally. I get a game and I play it for a day, and if I don't like it, I send it back. If I do like it, I'll keep it for longer.
Pump the brakes for a second. Why the hell have you not gotten GameFly to sponsor Stronger Than Geek?
I haven't reached out to them.
Reach out to them.
All right, well, if you guys can start sharing the podcast around so we can get some more viewers, so I can contact GameFly. And really, it doesn't do you any good, but you would feel better knowing that you're paying us.
And if we ever have money to get a cool studio or something, then you guys can come hang out in our cool studio.
Yeah, or we'll be able to go watch more movies and play more video games that we could review on air. So it does help you out.
Or just quit our jobs and just do this full time.
Yeah, you could get 2-3 episodes a week.
Daily podcasts.
Yeah. Maybe we should set up a Patreon account. People could throw in $1 here, $1 or $2 a month.
No, not until we get at least 1,000 more people to listen to this.
Fair enough.
So we'll have 1,008.
So I've been playing a lot of games. I tried playing Uncharted 4, which I hadn't had a chance to yet.
Okay.
And I played through the opening sequence.
I feel like there's a butt coming.
Oh, there is a butt. The game is excellent. Everyone knows that. I didn't get to play it because I played through the first sequence and then the update downloaded, and then the game was broken.
Well, that's unusual.
The update would just make the game get frozen on the opening screen, and I set the controller down and walked away. 5 minutes later, it was still on that screen.
And there's no patch to fix that or anything?
It was the patch. It was the update.
That's really unusual.
I don't know if it's something about the update and my PlayStation, or if the update itself was a new one and it's broken.
Maybe it's an Uncharted update.
Yeah.
No one's charted it yet.
So I just put it back in the container and sent it back to get a new game.
So you'd put Uncharted update pretty low on the chart.
Oh, yeah, no. The update says 0 out of 10. And I think that's the first time I've given something a 0.
Probably on air.
Because it literally broke the game.
Yeah, that sucks.
The one I'm playing right now is called the Technomancer. It's a game that
I've been confused with the Techno Dancer.
Right. I had not heard of it at all until last week. But I put it in my queue, and it turned out it was the next game to come out. A game that came out earlier this year. The visuals look more like...
No, it did not. It came out last year.
Oh, you're right. It came out last year. I forgot that it was 2017 years since the birth of our Lord. It is a action RPG in a sci-fi universe. It takes place on Mars.
Okay.
The combat's very fluid, a lot of fun.
Wait, did you say a sci-fi universe? Because Mars is just a fi universe.
Yeah, but
No,
it's
no,
like,
a non-fi.
It's
a
in the
non-fi.
future, and they have like electric powers.
Okay, all right, that's okay.
It all has to do with like mutation and stuff like that.
X-Men.
Kind of. But yeah, it's a lot of fun to play. The combat's very fluid. You have 3 different like styles of combat that you can use, and you have your electrical like magic powers.
Okay. Is it like first person or third person?
Third person. You can also have companions. There's equipment. There's a crafting system that's really, really cool.
And
the thing about it
Go ahead.
is the visuals look last gen, so it looks more like a PS3 game than a PS4 game.
Okay.
And the voiceover work is god awful. Like the lip sync, it doesn't look like how humans actually talk. It looks like how apes pretend to talk like
Right.
humans.
Yeah.
Where they kind of gesture their lips
What
forward.
studio is this game?
I cannot remember off the top of my head.
The publisher or anything?
I'll look it up right now.
Okay, Technomancer?
The Technomancer.
Huh. Okay, out of 10.
They should have dropped the.
Yeah, just Technomancer. What's your out of 10 right now for Technomancer?
You know, with the new year, by the way, I didn't do this a second ago, but with the new year, I'm going to change up my rating system.
Okay, so this is also a resolution?
Yeah, you can keep your
You're
0
no
to
longer
100
doing it
if
out
you
of
want.
a 10. I've never
Or
done 0 out of
0 out
100.
of 10, I
I'm
meant.
not Drake.
0 out of 10. My new rating system is going to be a 3-step rating system
Okay.
to make it easier on myself to decide. It's going to be good, bad, or meh.
Okay, so you're going with meh.
So far, I'm going to say good despite the meh qualities.
Okay, I think what we should also do is maybe develop some weird... I'm still going to do out of 10s. But I still think we should develop some kind of system of like how many strong and geeks we give them. Or like strong and geek bucks. Or like...
Well, you're going to give it 0 strong and geeks, or 0 strongs out of geek?
No, maybe...
Out of 10 geeks?
Well, we'll... One of these days we'll come up with a system. Like, oh, that's worth 14 geeks, but only 2 strongs. Or I don't know.
Fair enough.
Anyway...
What is your geekiest...
My New Year's resolution is to obtain as many of DC Rebirth comics as I can as the trade paperbacks start coming out, I think, next week.
Okay.
So I'm going to try and my best to stay on pace with picking them up as they're released.
Okay.
Because I just finally now, actually right before I came over to record, finally caught up with New 52, all of Batman. I've read it all now. I'm halfway through Flash. I'm 1 book away from finishing Justice League, so I finally have the opportunity now, because in 2011, I wasn't collecting trade paperbacks. Now I have the chance where I can just start now that Rebirth started and just get going as they're released.
Okay. The thing about it is, I really like the New 52 stuff. I know a lot of people had some issues with it, but I like the direction it took. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that Rebirth... I know Rebirth is keeping some of the stuff from the New 52, as well as like taking some of the stuff from before.
Right.
I'm hoping they don't lose a lot of the good stuff from the New 52.
Oh, well, right now Rebirth is universally praised as like the best decision DC's made.
Right. No, and I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm just hoping that they don't...
It already is great.
Yeah. What I'm saying is I'm hoping that they don't just dump stuff.
That is not how... I mean, if just reading from DC Rebirth, the Rebirth special that started it, nothing got dumped per se. It's things have been changed, and there's a reason why. It's not that things just changed for no reason.
Yeah.
It's that, we're finding out now more about what's going on in this universe, and is our Watchmen messing with everything, and Ozymandias and all that kind of stuff, so...
Do you think... Now, follow me on this one. Just hear me out. Do you think that maybe one of the pushes for this was because we have the cinematic universe that was directed by Zack Snyder, and we have Watchmen that was also directed by Zack Snyder?
Absolutely not.
And we might get some kind of a crossover?
No.
You don't think?
Oh, do I think there's going to be... You mean Watchmen and...
DC,
and Justice
EU.
League cinematic crossover?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. No way.
Really?
No, not at all. I do think that we're going to get a DC Watchmen comic book crossover.
Oh, for sure. That's obvious.
That has nothing to do with Zack Snyder at all. That's Jeff Johns. That is 100%.
All right, but
him.
I just thought it's interesting that Zack Snyder did both the Watchmen movie and...
But then you could
Batman
use
versus
that
Superman
same logic.
and
You could
Man
say
of
like,
Steel.
screw it. Throw 300 in there too while we're at it, and that stupid Sucker Punch movie. Like, just cross them all over because same director.
Well, no, because but 2 of them are comic books.
Yes.
Well, I guess Sucker Punch and Spartan are also graphic novels, but...
No, Sucker Punch was Zack Snyder's own thing.
Wasn't it based on a graphic novel or a manga?
His own thing, I think.
Huh.
I think it has like story influences, but I think it was the original idea, which is funny because it's his worst one. So everybody says
I have to look that up.
can only
You know,
adapt
I
stuff.
also that movie plays like a video game. So like
Yeah.
if you just watch it and be like it's a video game, then it's actually not as bad.
And that one I'm not a big fan of, but 300 sweet. But yeah.
Oh, by the way, the Technomancer was developed by a company called Spiders and published by Focus Home Interactive. So companies you've never heard of,
Right.
making a game that Metacritic has 60% on. So it really is a meh, but I find it good.
So anyway, before we move on and get into a Geek of the Week and main topic of the evening and all those sorts of things that you fans have come to love, first things first, we had the chance to go to the movies since the last time we spoke.
Yes.
All you kids out there.
Yes.
To a film that some people were very excited about. Others were, whatever. Like, not, kind of indifferent. Cough me. And unfortunately now, after the fact, a good plethora of people have been very disappointed with.
Yes.
And we're speaking, of course, of Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed.
Oh, really? I thought we were talking about insert movie that came out around the Christmas. Why him? I thought we were talking about why him.
I did not see that one.
Neither did I.
So anyway, let's hear your thoughts on Assassin's Creed.
Okay, so
Because you're the one who loves the games and have played
yes,
all of them.
I've played all the games. I am very big into the series. Obviously, I think some of the older games are better than some of the ones that we've gotten more recently, but I still am with the series.
But isn't one of the newer ones where you play as like a guy and a girl, like one of your like favorite
That's
ones?
the most new one.
Didn't you like that one a lot?
I did, but I feel like the story is better in the older ones. Back when, like the Desmond arc, when he was still alive.
Right.
I feel like when Desmond died, they were like, hey, a lot of the fans don't like the modern day stuff as much as the actual gameplay, so let's just basically cut it out and make it a dumb like first person mini game. And I liked the intrigue part, which was what happened in the modern day, and then the actual plot elements that happened in the past.
With Altair.
Yeah, well, Altair or Ezio, or and the last one was Connor.
But Desmond was related to all of them.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Now, here's the problem with this movie right out of the gate. It flips the script, and it's like, obviously, our main hero is Callum Lynch, not his ancestor, Aguilar.
Both played by the phenomenal Michael Fassbender.
Yes. And because of that, it's like they didn't listen to the fans who have always told them, hey, the stuff that we don't like is the modern day stuff. The stuff we really like is the historical stuff. This movie should have started.
But aren't you a fan that just said the opposite of that?
No, I said that I'm not as harsh on the modern day stuff
you
as
still
most
like-
fans,
okay, you still like
but
the
I
past
still
better.
prefer the actual game because
Okay,
that's the actual game.
Sure.
And I preferred the modern day stuff when it was more closely related to the game instead of something completely separate.
Right.
So I think that this movie should have started the first game the way the first game did, which is in the Animus.
Right.
And then he wakes up and he's like, "What the hell was that?"
Yeah, I agree with that. I was expecting the movie to start in the Inquisition and then have him wake up. I don't need to see him be put to death or anything. I want to see him wake up because then I'm initially freaked out too. Like, what is this?
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, nobody knew that Assassin's Creed was a game that took place. It was a sci-fi game. Nobody knew
Until it was released.
until they started playing it, and that's when they woke up in the Animus.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who still don't know the game franchise, which is still a lot of people, could have gone to this movie thinking it was just like if they would have cut the trailers just to be in the past,
Right.
and then been like, "Whoa!"
Which would have been
It's a
sweet.
big sci-fi universe that we didn't know about.
But my only question about that is if they would have done that with the trailers, then do you think fans would have been like, oh, so are they just cutting out the Animus entirely?
Well, yeah, they probably would have because a lot of fans have
Excuse me.
speculated that games in the future are just going to cut out the Animus, and we're just going to see the past.
But then I feel like that kind of is like undermining.
That's what they did with Assassin's Creed Liberation, which was the PS Vita title.
Oh.
You just played the character of Aveline. Now, you knew that you were still in that universe,
Right.
but it was just the program.
Right.
Now, that was obviously a shorter game because it was a handheld title.
Right. So, yeah, what I'm hearing you saying, and I kind of agree with, is that as much as Michael Fassbender does a great job, and it's and you know and Jeremy Irons and Marion Cotillard, like great cast. I don't know if you agree with me. I just felt like the present day stuff was kind of boring. Like not very intriguing for a while.
Oh, no. It never got intriguing.
I would say
even by the end, there was no emotional.
Exactly what I was going to say. I was saying when it got visually intriguing, like the choreography was cool, but I didn't care. I didn't want to see them fighting in 2016.
Well, and even then, there were so many jump cuts. There was so much weird lighting in this movie that you couldn't really tell a lot of the time what was happening. I think at one point during the end of the movie, they filled the room with fog.
That was a smoke bomb that they got from.
Well, and that's fine. That they have like smoke bombs are a staple in the game. That's fine, but to the movie, it made it so hard to tell what was actually happening. I mean, in the game, you have eagle vision, so even through the smoke, you see all the figures perfectly.
Or if you want a perfect example of a movie showing a smoke bomb fight sequence, that's fine. Watch any of the Nolan Batman movies.
Absolutely.
Like in the Batman Begins, when they're fighting in the Narrows, it's foggy as hell because the Scarecrow's toxins all over the place.
Yeah.
You can still see Batman kicking ass.
Well, yeah, all you do is you set it up so that the fog billows around the outside of the frame and around the like knee area in the middle of the shot.
Right.
So the implication is they're in a cloud of fog, but you're seeing what's happening. When the smoke is just enveloping everyone, all you see is just a bunch of bodies throwing their arms around.
But I can understand what they're trying to do to make you feel like you're there. Like, if you're there, you're going to be having a hard time seeing. That's the point. The assassins are not supposed to see them. But I can see both sides of it from like an audience member. It's like, no, I want to see what he's doing.
There were some other things about this that gave me pause. First, I do have to agree with my friend Leaf when we were watching the movie. Make the past stuff in English. I know that a lot of people are like, well, no, it's Spain, they talk Spanish. But they make a point in the games that the computer automatically translates the program so that the player doesn't have to learn Italian.
Okay, see, I didn't know that. If I would have known that, then now actually, I didn't have a problem with it until just right now.
Yeah.
If I would have known that, then I would have had no problem with it, because I actually liked that. And a lot of people that I talked to who are like, oh, I didn't like having to read it. I don't have a problem reading subtitles in movies, particularly historical pieces. Like Passion of the Christ, if he would have been speaking English, I would have been taken out of it.
Yeah.
So I was fine with that. But if that's how the game is set up, and that was like my big thing, was all my pros for this movie, every single one has to do with either Michael Fassbender being a badass or B, the stuff that seems to me like the game. So that actually now, as someone who knows what the games are about and everything, but hasn't really played them that often, now that I know that, nope.
Yeah. Okay, so that's one of the things. And again, my negatives to this are things trying to say, bring it back to what the game was. So, first of all, we didn't get to see anything bad about the Inquisition, really.
No.
Other than them going to execute Aguilar at one point.
They were going to burn Aguilar's mentor and then him and his lady friend.
Whose name we did get, but
no,
it didn't matter because the past stuff only made it up for like 20% of this movie.
The only reason I had any emotional connection to Aguilar was because he's Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, this movie should have been like 80% the stuff in the past. We should have really gotten into his backstory, and we should have really felt an emotional connection to him. Most of these games start with, like, the Ezio trilogy literally starts the moment Ezio's born and goes all the way until he dies.
And, I didn't really...
We don't need all of that.
But I didn't really feel that connected to... I get, like, we didn't learn, Caleb Lynch? Callum, whatever. We didn't really learn his kind of thing till, like, deep into the second act and everything when he was talking to figure out what happened. But even from the get-go, I was like, oh, your dad's an assassin and he killed your mom.
We don't need to know any of that. We don't need that.
Yeah.
We don't need Bruce Wayne in the alley with his parents anymore.
Yeah.
We don't need that dumb backstory.
I don't even know.
We need Aguilar's backstory.
I would have preferred if the assassins weren't even a thing nowadays, or like we didn't know. None of the people there knew that they were assassins and could just readily access them.
All right. So here's how I would have loved to seen it play out. We have Callum wake up out of the first act of the movie takes place, or the first half of the first act takes place in the Animus. We see Aguilar's story, and then Aguilar misses a ledge and falls and hits the ground, and Callum shoots awake. And they're like, you desynchronized. You have to stop thinking about what's going to happen next. You have to just live the memory. And he's like, where am I? And they're like, God damn it. It's the bleeding effect. This always happens. Cal, we're proceeding the program. Remember the Animus? And they kind of fill him in, and that's when he starts to remember, okay.
Hold on. But I feel like that would have dabbled into too much exposition talking.
Well, no, it doesn't necessarily have to get to that, because it's just like hey, it's a nostalgia throw to the fans, but with them just saying the program messes with people's brains and easily saying it without giving us all those weird holograms of him seeing his ancestor and then them fighting
Which
in
that
his
was
bedroom.
weird. Is that a thing that's ever happened in the game?
The bleeding effect is a thing. Like Desmond would see like visions of Altair, but it was just like he followed him. He never got into a fight with Altair. You know
Yeah,
what
I was
mean?
wondering why he was fighting himself.
No, I would have liked it better if it did the bleeding effect as if it's like he can't connect reality for a few minutes, and they're like, no, it's you're okay, and he's like, oh,
Well, that's the vibe.
Sorry.
I will say I did get that vibe.
yeah,
But.
sorry, guys, it's all right. And here's the other thing: don't make Callum a guy that like was killed and brought back, and he's like
Like a
fighting
criminal.
as the thing. He is an employee of Abstergo that turns out to have assassin roots.
Right.
So they're digging into his past, and that by him seeing Aguilar and seeing what he went through, he changes sides.
Okay.
Simple plot.
He did kind of. He was. I mean, for a while there, he was intending on helping them. So he did kind of change sides in this movie. Actually, I would say
but
he
what
thoroughly did.
I'm saying is, it would be better if he was an employee of Abstergo, right? But the secret behind like the Templar assassin sort of thing, like because what they explained in the games is that Abstergo Entertainment is building a video game where you get to play as a pirate or play as someone,
Whoever.
but secretly it's actually people's ancestors, and they're doing like crowdsourced data mining so they can find these artifacts.
Right.
That's what Abstergo's plan is. In this game, I would have loved, or in this movie, sorry, I would have loved to seen like just a scene where Jeremy Irons and Marion Cotillard are speaking, and he's like, "What you need to understand is that the reason I pulled you away from the entertainment wing of the business to work with me here in research and development is because we're doing more than just making a game here. We're looking for actual artifacts." She's like, "What?" And he's like, "I need you to understand that I'm a member of the Templar Order, and you, as my daughter, have been bringing you up to be in this. We need an emotional arc for her, an emotional arc for him, and some love for Jeremy Irons. I would have loved to have seen his character more involved and not just like, I'm a big bad standing behind a pane of glass."
We wanted Alfred.
Yeah, sure.
We needed Alfred.
Like a little sauce, but also a little sweet.
You know what? Speaking of which, that was Alfred and Talia al Ghul together.
Oh, yeah, solid.
I would have loved for Michael Fassbender to not be Magneto and be any Batman character.
Right?
Oh my god. Just a complete side note. Michael Fassbender is Hugo Strange. Holy shit, you heard it here first. Ooh. That would be so sweet.
He would be a solid Hugo
That would
Strange.
be so sweet.
I think he would also make a pretty good Raish.
Well,
That kind of like really tall, kind of staring out a window
he's
sort of
a
thing.
little too young for Raish, in my opinion.
Oh, they
Maybe
can
like
age him up a
straight
little
out out of the Lazarus pit.
Yeah.
But anyway, so here's my kind of gripes. One, I don't understand the Apple of Eden.
Oh yeah, they made no attempt to properly explain that.
What is it? Is it alien technology?
Okay,
Or?
so what the games explain is that before mankind, there was a different race of people. They never explain if they are aliens that came to Earth or if they just evolved before humans did. But they created humans. They like developed our DNA sequence to use us as like a slave labor force.
Okay.
And they controlled our minds with these artifacts, the Apple of Eden, so that we were subjugated.
Wait, so this is something that's been established in the games
Yes.
before?
The Apple of Eden is in the first game.
Oh, so it is a thing that's been around.
Yeah, the Apple of Eden literally like takes away your willpower.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, eventually Adam and Eve were the first two people to escape the compound with the Apple of Eden.
Right.
That's why the Bible stories, it's supposed to like play into like all these, like the
get
Da
it.
Vinci Code. Like there are secrets placed throughout religion.
So
and stuff.
okay, then I'm fine with that. Then never mind. I'll take that back. If I knew the game better,
But
I wouldn't have
they
been
didn't know
confused.
business to explain that. All they had to, again, a simple scene where Jeremy Irons is talking to Marion Cotillard, and she's like, "What do you mean the Templars are real? And you mean to tell me that the first civilization, all that stuff that we're making for the games, all that crap is real?" And he's like, "We don't know if they were aliens. We don't know if they just evolved before us. But yes, it's all real."
Yeah, see, I would have liked like a Prometheus almost sort of like scene where it's also Michael Fassbender. What do you know? But
Yeah.
like just that like we don't know where they came from, but we do know that they had this, and they could show like the image of it like on a hologram screen, and then they could just say like, we believe that it taps into, and just like a picture of a brain and what part of the brain regions or something, just something to give it even a little tiny bit of science that me as like someone who knows the brain would be like, okay,
and
that makes
there
sense.
are lots of pieces of Eden. The MacGuffin changes between what game you're playing in. Sometime in one game it's the Shroud of Eden, which heals any wound and is supposed to be able to even bring humans back from the dead. There's a sword that shoots lasers. That one was dumb. There's different artifacts.
Yeah.
The Pope at one point has a scepter.
I'd been really mad if it was a sword.
The sword was dumb. Actually, one thing I was discussing
was that supposed to be like the sword that the angel had in front of the garden?
Maybe
the flaming
They
sword?
don't really go. That was the worst game. It was Unity, and they really dropped the ball on that one.
Okay,
story wise and gameplay wise. But in any case, the one thing that I was discussing is that there's also one other big thing which I think would have been too much to add into this movie, maybe, which is that there is a at the end of the life cycle of this first civilization, when they all got wiped out because there was not that many of them, and then there was this big solar flare, the humans had enough people left to survive, but all of them got wiped out.
Okay.
One of them was able, or two of them were able to digitize their consciousness, one of which was locked away in a prison, and the other one was kind of free to talk to Desmond through his ancestors. The one that's locked away in a prison, at the end of the third game, Desmond releases in order to save the world, but now she's, like, living in the internet is the only way I can describe it. Like, her digital consciousness connected to our networks, and she's secretly developing a way to subjugate humanity once more. She's already built, like, a cult.
And has that happened yet, or is that...
No. That's the thing they're always saying, like, eventually this will happen.
Assassin's Creed War.
Yeah. I don't know if that's too much to put into the movie. That's, like, too deep into lore.
I think that'd be too deep.
But, like, just some nods to it for the fans.
But I mean, if you're not even going to mention what the Apple of Eden is for us newbies...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This movie had no... Like, it didn't take place in the same universe as the games.
Right.
Why not?
Well, no, I don't know.
It could have just built onto the lore instead of kind of a reimagining. Like that stupid Animus, which is a giant robot arm, instead of just a Matrix chair.
I didn't understand that either.
It was super dumb.
I was looking at it like, why does it do that?
Yeah, I understand that it was just so that we could see Michael Fassbender do stuff outside of costume, but realistically, let's be honest, it was so they could cut away from the R-rated action to give us a PG-13 him fighting a computer.
Right.
If you remember watching the movie, anytime Aguilar was about to like run someone through and we'd see a big gush of blood or whatever, they would cut to Callum in the Animus. These games are rated M for mature. You can't buy them if you're under 17 years old. So why is the movie for kids 13 and older? No, this should be a rated R movie.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was PG-13 until I got there. Like when
I was paying really close attention. I was like, oh, every time he cuts somebody, they cut away from it, and then they cut back, and the body just falls to the floor, and you don't see any blood. That's so dumb.
I just didn't understand. I understand nobody wants to see, if it was the same amount of screen time, no one wants to see Michael Fassbender just sitting in a chair with his eyes closed or an iPad, or doing like he's dreaming or something. No. A little bit of it, like kind of like Days of Future Past, Wolverine.
Or like the Matrix.
Every now and then, show us Wolverine, or the Matrix, or show Wolverine shaking around when something bad's happening, and then show what he's doing in the past, kicking ass.
Yeah, and like it just shows him shaking, and then it cuts to Marion Cotillard and Jeremy Irons, and she's like, he's not syncing up, and then like he catches his balance and starts killing fools, and she's like, there he goes.
Yeah.
The only other thing I was going to mention before we go on to the next segment was the jump cuts and shaky cam in this for all the action sequences made it so hard to follow what was going on.
This is where I will respectfully disagree in terms of I didn't think the shaky cam was as bad as like the beginning of Captain America Civil War.
But the jump cuts, I did a count. I literally at one point in this movie, it was during the sequence where the cardinal was about to burn them at the stake, and I counted in my head how many seconds it took in between cuts. They didn't stay on a single frame for more than 2 seconds.
Okay.
I would just be like, 1, 2,
There's a lot going
new
on.
shot, 1, 2. Yeah, but it's cuts like that, cut, that doesn't allow you to focus on anything and like get a feel for the characters. And then the action sequences, it was like multiple cuts a second. You would just see a quick flash. The game's combat is when you get into a fight, the camera pulls back, so you see a crowd of guys with your assassin in the middle, and you see him fight all those guys.
Right.
So if you wanted to make it feel like the game and not like just any action movie, you would have had really good fight choreography and long, steady shots.
Oh.
Where the camera pulls back and we see Aguilar in the middle, and he's just ghosting fools left and right.
Batman, BVS.
Exactly. All the fight sequences should have been like him in the warehouse, not like Jason Bourne beating up spies.
Right.
Because that's not how it looks in the game, and this is a video game fucking movie. Doom even had the nutsack to give us a first-person shooter mode at the end of the movie.
Which we're going to touch on, don't you worry.
Right. But what I'm saying is, they even had the balls to do that. This movie didn't give us even one Assassin's Creed fight style.
All right, so, long story short, let's hear it on the 1, 2, 3.
Bad.
Okay.
When I watched the movie, this was before the new year, I was thinking a 2 out of 10. 1 for cool costumes, and 2 for Michael Fassbender, Jeremy Irons, and Marion Cotillard. Not necessarily their acting performance, but just the fact that they exist in our universe.
I will say that you can't. They ran with what they were given with.
Right.
They just weren't given a lot.
No, they weren't.
I would give it a 5, and here's my 5 reasoning. 1, okay, the special effects were cool. Like, even though I'm like it's dumb. It's a giant robot arm. It's a cool looking robot arm. 2, Michael Fassbender, his emotional expression, both in the present and the past, great.
Even that silly moment where he starts singing.
Yeah, but you know what? But I believe that he was losing his mind.
Yeah, I guess.
And also Jeremy Irons and Marion Cotillard. 3, I really did like the past sequences. I wanted there to be more past sequences, but I really did like it. Those 3 things could make the movie a 5 for me.
You know what? I would be willing to give it another half point for my favorite scene in the movie, which is where I think the director had yelled cut, and then Michael Fassbender said a line, and the cameras were still rolling, and they were like, no, we're putting that in. That's when he's first sitting at the lunch table, and all the people are around him, and he goes, what the fuck is going on? I had a feeling that Michael Fassbender, like, that wasn't part of the script, and it was just Michael Fassbender being like, the script of this movie is really weird.
And I appreciate that. I really do.
It did feel off the cuff, didn't it? Just like, because he sits back and he glances around and the fuck is going on?
No, but it was after those 2 guys had just been all weird to him.
I know.
Right. And honestly, I appreciated that exact moment so much because I was like, that is verbatim what I would have said if that just happened.
He was speaking for the audience.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what the fuck is going on?
But here's the thing: that was the only time in that entire movie that anyone felt like a real person.
Yeah. Well, we felt like hologram people for half the movie. My biggest thing was I did not like any bit of the seeing holograms of himself and fighting them. I thought that was weird.
Yeah. I'm sure I could go on about this movie for an entire episode, but we do have to get to some other matters.
Yeah.
So I think it's about time we talk about our Geek of the Week.
Our first Geek of 2017.
And unfortunately, it has to be a posthumous one.
It does.
I'm not going to do a big yell because I'm actually really upset about this, but
No.
Our first Geek of the Week for the year is Carrie Fisher, General Leia Organa, but she'll always be royalty to me.
Yeah. Princess.
That's Santeca.
I know who it is. Honestly, I can't quote an extensive list of films that Carrie Fisher touched my heart in. I can only name 4.
Yep.
But those 4 have touched my heart more than most films could ever even imagine.
And will be 5, because she did shoot all of her scenes for episode 8.
Oh, and you know what? Actually, and we did get a touch of her in Rogue One.
Oh, well.
So,
yeah.
I would have
just her voice for a second.
So, either way, it's...
and we saw her as a baby in Revenge of the Sith.
Valid. So, obviously, horrible thing that happened.
Yeah.
And we were all really upset, but we'll always love you, Carrie.
Yeah. She had a great life. She did a lot of writing, actually. She was a pretty well respected author. Taken from us young, only at the age of 60, but a lifetime of drug abuse and mental health issues did follow her. And she was a big advocate for mental health and helping people in that community. And the world is less for having lost her.
The galaxy is less.
Yeah. And then the next day for her mother to decide, well, not decide, but almost decide as if, the world is not good enough without my daughter. She decided to
I
go.
think the circumstances were unfortunate.
Yeah. But the first Geek of the Week of the year has to be a posthumous one, but more deserving than maybe any we've ever had on this list.
Oh, absolutely. But anyway, on to a brighter and more, well, potentially more a fun note.
Let's hope a funnier topic.
So, if any of you have been counting, this actually happens to be, we're starting the year off with a 5th week top 5.
5th week top 5.
Chugga chugga.
Let's see how that new microphone picks that up.
They're probably like splitting their ears.
Crank
right
up the bass.
So, this week, in honor of Assassin's Creed, the film, we decided to take a glance at our top 5 video game comic book movie.
Video game comic book movie crossovers.
No, video game movie adaptations.
Yes.
But here's the caveat. I don't know if any of you know this, but there is an idea out there that exists that almost a curse.
Yeah.
That if a movie is based on a video game, it is going to be bad.
Or at least not good. You know what I mean? Like some of them are they're okay, they're pretty good.
Right.
There are a couple that I actually really like a lot, and then there's some that I like because they're so bad it's hilarious.
So I was gonna take the role on here as my opinion, the top 5 absolute worst pieces of shit video game movies.
Did you delve into a lot of Uwe Boll movies?
No, just in my opinion, of those I've seen.
Okay. I was going to say, a lot of these also I haven't seen. I refuse to watch a movie by Uwe Boll. I know that this list would basically just be him.
I don't even know who that is.
Really? He did Blood Rain. He did Alone in the Dark. He did House of the Dead. He did all the Blood Rains. He did the In the Name of the King series.
So what I'm saying is, just stick to what you've seen in your opinion.
Yeah.
And then we can add a few. But I am gonna at the end just note 1 or 2 honorable mentions that I actually do enjoy.
Okay.
Because there's probably only 1 or 2. Also, a couple things that I wanted to add here. One, I don't think it's fair if we just do like Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. Like it's a continuation of the video game story, but it's like a 3D movie. I don't think that should count.
Okay.
I'm talking like the video game based, like it's based in, like they make the movie like based on the game and to some capacity.
What about an animated movie that's based on a game?
It depends on what kind of like how it's based on it. Like
Okay, because I was debating the Pokemon movie because Pokemon was a game before it was a cartoon series. But it's really based on the show, not based on the game.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. I was actually just going to mention that as my example that I don't think that should count.
Okay.
Or if it was like the Donkey Kong Country movie based on the Saturday TV series or something, I would say I don't think that counts.
There's one of those?
No, but if there was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the real Donkey Kong movie is Kong Skull Island.
So are you going to go with 5 that you actually moderately enjoy, even if they're complete shit?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm going to do the ones that I enjoy because they're actually good or just because they're so bad it's hilarious.
Let me just throw out my caveat now about the one that I actually... So the one I like is an animated film, but it's not like a continuation of a story or something. It's Final Fantasy Spirits Within. I actually like that
Is that
movie.
your number 5?
No, that's not my... No, that's just my caveat.
Okay.
That's one I actually
Yeah,
do.
and a lot of people hate on that movie.
Because it has nothing to do with... It's because it seemingly has nothing to do with Final Fantasy.
But I think it's a good emotional...
And for the time, the CG in that film is out of this universe.
Yeah, it's kind of got like a Space Odyssey sort of feel to
100%.
it.
Honestly,
Yeah.
it's only Final Fantasy in name and a couple winks here and there, but that was a good movie.
Yeah, or at least not a bad one.
I thought it was pretty good. But anyway, so go ahead.
Why don't we get started with number 5?
All right. So for me, my number 5 shittiest movie that is based on a video game, I'm going to go with the Street Fighter Chun-Li movie.
Oh, The Legend of Chun-Li.
Starring Lana Lang from Smallville.
Who I'm sure has a real name in the real world.
Yeah, I don't know it. This movie from 2009 was really bad. So let me just put this out there. Street Fighter, the games are classics. Street Fighter 2, as a child, I spent probably more time playing than I should have, making people beat each other up. But it has a special place in my heart. And the animated Street Fighter 2 movie is sweet. If you ever get to see the anime Street Fighter movie, that's a great movie.
Yeah,
But
the
the animated Street Fighter 2 is sweet. But this is Street Fighter 2, because the original Street Fighter movie came out before, and who knows if we'll talk about that, wink wink. But Street Fighter The Legend of Chun-Li was a piece of shit. Not only did it try to bring in some characters who we had not seen in the movies yet, but when it did bring them in, it made them horrible. There was a scene with like Vega, and he was just completely dumb and nothing like he was.
Oh yeah, she makes that dumb line. It's like, I see why you wear a mask. You're hiding your face or something like that.
Something stupid like that.
She calls him ugly.
That's
basically what it boils down to.
Literally, and it tried to make it like just like she's like a. I felt like it was trying to be like a movie with Paul Walker. I felt like it was trying to be like a Paul Walker, like a Fast and the Furious. Just Street Fighter and the Furious.
Also, I can't think of his name right off the top of my head. The villain in that movie is the actor who plays Damien Dark in Arrow.
Right.
And he is an Irish guy that was raised in Thailand, but somehow still has an Irish accent.
But is M. Bison.
But is also M. Bison.
Yeah,
that's
it
right.
doesn't make any sense at all. And in fact, the only thing in that one that wasn't, I guess, totally. Actually, no, never mind.
Totally.
I was gonna say. Sorry, I was thinking is that they had Michael Clark Duncan as Balrog, and that's still bad casting.
Yeah.
He's huge, but
funny little side note. Apparently, Balrog and M. Bison were actually supposed to be name switched when the game was first made, because Balrog is literally just Mike Tyson, and they just changed his name to M. Bison. But then to avoid issues, they just flipped their names.
Wow, I never.
The boss of the game was supposed to be Balrog.
That makes so much more sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you sure that's true, or is that just a theory?
No, that's absolutely true.
All right,
that's why they changed it to like Major Bison, but it's supposed to be Mike Bison.
All right, so that just made me hate this movie even more. So Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li, 5 out of in terms of my out of 10, it gets absolutely a 1.
Okay. The first one I'm going with is actually in terms of a video game movie that's like really follows.
You know what? Sorry, I'll give it a 2 because she's pretty good looking.
Okay, fine. Number 5 for me. This movie does kind of follow the game pretty well, at least the idea of it. 2010's The Prince of Persia: Sands of Time with Jake Gyllenhaal.
I've actually never seen it.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not a great movie. It's a good popcorn, action movie. I would say that it's better than Assassin's Creed as an action movie, the way it was. It does follow the game more, though. The way the combat is, the parkour elements, the little magic elements with the dagger that reverses time and stuff. And Jake Gyllenhaal isn't awful, although he's not Iranian. They could have gone with a Middle Eastern actor to play the Prince of Persia.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
And you don't really believe his emotional or his romantic through line with the other character, who's the actress I can't think of her off the top of my head. But they do have a funny rapport, the way they play off one another. Like, their comedic timing is pretty good. It's just their romance isn't fully believable. But that being said, the movie's got some good visuals, and it feels like the game. And for that, as far as the rating system goes, I'll give it a good for video game movies.
Okay, I'll be certain to maybe check it out.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth a try.
All right. So next up,
number 4.
Now I have to go with the sequel to the Mortal Kombat movies.
Oh, Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
See, this is one of the ones that I classify as so bad it's hilarious.
I think this one annihilated my desire to see a movie. Its acting is atrocious.
Really, really bad.
Mortal Kombat, the actual Mortal Kombat movie, I would have put on my list of, okay.
The original Mortal Kombat for the time period,
not bad.
Not bad.
But Mortal Kombat Annihilation, atrocious.
Worst CGI in a movie maybe ever.
Probably ever.
Yeah.
It's kind of like watching an... I don't know. I was going to say an abortion. I don't know.
Oh, I was going to say it looks like a student project.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The first Mortal Kombat movie came out, and then a group of, MIT students were like, hey, let's make...
No. That, maybe like BIT or QIT, like some other IT.
Well, the Quebec Institute of Technology, we're going to be getting a call from them.
Oh, shoot.
How dare you?
I don't really have a whole lot to go into this other than this movie's just really freaking bad. The acting's bad. Actually, if you look it up, I'm pretty sure there are YouTube videos that are like worst movie, like Mortal Kombat colon, like or Mortal Kombat Annihilation, like worst movie scene ever or something.
Well, and I can tell you the scene right now. It's where the girl walks up. I think it's Sonya. I don't remember. Yeah. And she goes, "Mother, you're alive." And then she walks up between the two and she goes, "Yes, but you." And then her eyes open really wide. We'll go, "We'll die."
Oh dear.
I know that scene.
Yeah.
It's stuck out in my memory.
So Mortal Kombat Annihilation, I don't know, 1 out of 10 because it did have Sub-Zero. It did have more of the ninjas, and they were always cool. But
okay, so for my number 4, I am gonna talk about the original Street Fighter movie from 1994.
Okay,
this is a movie that is dumb. I'll give you that.
Right.
We have Jean-Claude Van Damme as Guile.
Right. This one I would have also said on my okay.
It's dumb, but it's funny, and it's kind of campy,
and it flirts with the games enough, and the campiness of the games.
Raul Julia plays M. Bison,
right.
Which this is the one where he actually got lightning powers, I believe.
Oh,
before this in the game, he didn't actually have lightning; he just kind of flew around,
right.
And then they added lightning after the movie.
Yeah, and he looked
his skill set.
He looked like the game guy.
Yeah, he did absolutely, and admittedly. Jean-Claude Van Damme looks like Guile. I mean, you don't buy that he's an American Army Ranger.
Or the hair.
Because of his accent. Again, this movie's campy and kind of silly, but it's a fun watch. You would consider it good. I'd consider it in that, like, so campy it's funny. It's a good movie to sit down with a couple beers and laugh at. You know?
Or to watch and say, this is a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, it's not great by any stretch of the imagination, but it doesn't make me want to vomit.
By the way, this list of movies is, at least on my sake, is just the order in which I would prefer to watch these.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, number 5 is the one that, like, I would watch the least. Number 1 is going to be the one I'd be like, no, put that shit on the TV.
All right, let's go for
number 3.
All right, for me, number 3, I'm going to go with, and I know you're probably going to argue with me that this isn't as bad as the past two, but honestly, I really hated the second Tomb Raider movie.
Oh yeah,
Cradle
of Life. No, that one was no good.
I thought it was really bad. Mm-hmm. The first Tomb Raider I enjoyed to an extent. Something about Cradle of Life, like I felt like Angelina Jolie had stopped giving a shit. I don't know if they paid her less. The writing I thought was ridiculously bad. The story, which I could at this exact moment not even remember that well because it was completely nothing. The first one with the Illuminati and everything was a cool story, and it felt like Tomb Raider. This one felt like we need to get Angelina Jolie in tight clothing and call it Tomb Raider again.
Fair enough.
It's just it was not good. I didn't enjoy any part of it, and I don't want to subject anybody to it. So number 3. I'll also give it a 1 out of 10.
Okay. For my number 3, I want to talk about the Silent Hill film that came out in 2006.
This is a good one.
Now, evidently, and I didn't see it, I'm just looking at the list now, there was a sequel that came out in 2012.
I've never seen this sequel.
Called Silent Hill Revelation.
I heard about it. I never saw it either.
I think they started going down the path of Resident Evil with that one.
Based on my patterns right now, that every single one I've said is a part 2, probably wouldn't have liked it.
Silent Hill, the first one, though, really did feel like the game. It was the darkness of it, the mystery of it. Because one of the things about the original game, and even more so in Silent Hill 2, was that the equipment wasn't there, the technology for them to have this kind of open street sort of thing. Right. They couldn't render. So they instead of just having it blurry in the background, they just gave you fog.
Right.
It was a design trick, but it made the game so much more eerie.
Right. And
this movie kind of felt like that.
And Silent Hill, its big thing was unlike Resident Evil, where the action and zombies, not the first one, but most Resident Evil games, the action and zombies happen right away, particularly like Resident Evil 3. But Silent Hill, a big chunk of that, it's just ambiance.
Yeah.
And this movie for a long it takes a while going, I guess some people might say, but for a horror film, it does exactly what
it's very thrilling. Well, the thing is, horror movies now are like jump scares. Yeah. Whereas real horror isn't just getting scared a whole bunch of times. That's like coming too many times during sex.
Right.
Is that a weird thing to say?
Yes.
You know what I mean? You have to have the build up to that. When you have a fake jump scare, it's not good. But when you have a sense of overwhelming dread throughout, then you leave the movie going, oh God.
Yeah, the fear of the unknown is the scariest.
Yeah. And so I like the twist at the end that it turns out, they were basically on two sides of the afterlife and the living world.
Right, which is Silent Hill.
Yeah. It felt perfect.
Yeah.
And that the end scene where they're both in the same house, but like they just can't
reach each
other. They can't reach each other. Really emotional. Yeah, really a good emotional, a great ending. Almost at the time, I would have said like an M. Night Shyamalan-y sort of twist, like the Sixth Sense sort of twist at the end.
I would totally give Silent Hill, that first movie, like a 7.5.
Yeah, no, it for me it fits good. The only reason it's not higher on my list is because there are two movies that I would watch more.
Right.
Again, these lists might be very different than yours. It's just what I would want to watch.
And I have a feeling. I certainly hope our number one isn't the same, but I have a feeling it might be. But all right, let's go ahead and. So let's go ahead and hear
number 2.
All right, my number 2, and I know I'm going to be harsh on this one, and I can't even tell you why I'm so harsh on it, but I hated everything about this movie pretty much. It's that goddamn Warcraft movie. In my opinion,
I still haven't made it to see that.
In my opinion, the worst movie of 2016. I didn't like anything about it. I thought the CG was weird and hurt my eyes. Like,
did you watch it in 3D?
No, I watched it in 2D.
And it hurt was it just too much motion?
I don't know. I really don't know. Now, when I saw the trailers in 3D, that really hurt my eyes. So in 2D, it was just, I don't know, it also did. The story seemed convoluted to me. I didn't understand. I don't know anything about Warcraft, so when certain characters just automatically could do these like spells and stuff, I was like, so is he a wizard or a druid?
Yeah,
or what?
I heard that the movie is better if you've played the games because like a lot of the characters are recognizable, but then you're not building a good movie.
I don't want to play. I don't want to. So these movies are good if you can go see them, and it makes you want to play the game. I watch Silent Hill, and I'm like, I want to play this game.
Yeah.
I watch Warcraft. I want to beat up like people who play Warcraft.
Yeah, or like you play the original, or you watch Tomb Raider and you see Angelina Jolie, and you're like, hey, nice. The first Tomb Raider.
Yeah, the Tomb Raider one, yeah. The other thing was...
that shower scene.
Not only was the story... Oh, God. No, not even was the
story... That was 13-year-old boner right there.
No, but the acting in this movie, that's the other thing. The acting to me was atrocious.
Oh,
Not a single person did a good job. And I don't understand why they make all of these orcs, like, CG, but then they pick one to be, like, a human character painted green. I just thought it was like Gamora with long teeth.
Wasn't she supposed to be half orc?
Yeah, but it was stupid.
Yeah, like, I remember. Again, I haven't seen the movie, but I heard
she was
reviews
half-orc,
and whatnot.
But like everything was just nothing for me clicked. It ended, and I felt like I had wasted 2 hours of my life.
Well, when I saw the character designs, and I know the game is very cartoony,
right?
But when I saw the orcs, I was like, they're silly looking.
They're cartoony.
And maybe it's because I've been spoiled because the Lord of the Rings orcs look so good.
Yeah.
The Uruk-hai are terrifying.
Right, and that's his practical effects.
Yeah, absolutely. And enhanced by CGI.
Right.
As opposed to just straight up cartoons.
I don't need to watch a video game movie where the villains are just video games.
Yeah.
I could play the game to do that. That was what frustrated me the most.
Didn't they do a top-down like battle sequence sort of thing so that it looked like the game?
Yeah, and it looked like watching a cartoon.
Well, I mean, you at least got to give them credit for trying to do something that was like the game. Like we talked about when we were doing our review of Assassin's Creed.
I guess. I mean, and also, but having the guy, like, you know, flying on his little bird and showing, like, the big temples when you arrive to the places, like Azeroth or whatever it's called. I don't know. It was really bad. 0.25 out of 10.
Okay. I heard that the plot is also really kind of hard to follow.
It was. And there was this one character who was really freaking annoying. It was like a little young apprentice wizard or some shit.
Isn't the movie follow the orcs more than it follows the humans?
I don't even fucking know.
Fair enough. All right. So for my number two, I was debating whether to make this one my number one because of how much I actually really like the movie. But number one is the one that I'm like, no, put that shit in right now.
Okay.
Number two is actually the Angry Birds movie.
Okay.
A lot of people might want to fight me on this. Hear me out. I know it basically was different from the game. You know, they even gave the characters limbs. They didn't even look like the characters in the games. But Jason Sudeikis, Danny McBride, Bill Hader, others. That movie had a phenomenal cast, and you know what? They were all really funny.
I've only seen part of it. We played it right before the holiday break at work, and I watched like maybe 20 minutes. But yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I'm looking at it now, and I'm seeing that the Metacritic and the Rotten Tomatoes are only 43% each.
Dude,
I totally disagree. I totally disagree. Josh Gad was in it. Peter Dinklage was in it. Maya Rudolph. Keegan-Michael Key. Kate McKinnon. Sean Penn was the voice of the big one that just made grunts.
That's a big cast.
Absolutely. Hannibal Buress, Tony Hale, Ike Barinholtz. Jesus Christ, that is a really big cast. Mm-hmm. And I thought that it was a fun movie to watch.
And earlier on
you can watch with your kids, but it also had a lot of adult humor in it.
You reviewed it on the show. You gave it a good one.
Yeah. So that one gets a good for me. And it's my number 2.
Okay.
So that brings us to number 1.
Okay, so on the count of 3, we're going to say our number 1, because I bet you it's the same movie.
Really? The one that you think is the worst and the one that I'm most apt to watch?
Yep.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. The
Super Mario Brothers movie.
Absolutely. Okay, so... Oh, God.
This is the first time we've had a matching one on our list.
Yep. And
that's totally by accident. We don't correspond before this. It's like a super PAC and a political candidate.
Yeah. But let's be honest. Okay, so I'll just start here by saying that I think the Super Mario Brothers movie, which a lot of people don't know exists actually, is the worst piece of shit, and it will be the first time I ever give a movie a 0 out of 10. It is so bad, it is atrocious.
Okay, here's the thing about it. I totally agree.
I know.
But I love it.
I hate it
because it's so bad, and it's so off-key from everything that, for whatever reason, I find it so funny. So every time I watch this movie, I'm in stitches the whole time.
Can we just say, for starters, if you're talking about movies that everything else on my list, numbers 5 through 2, capture some essence of the video games they are attempting to emulate. Yeah. Mario Brothers absolutely does not.
Yeah, no, they only gave us like one thing, which was the jump boots, which doesn't even happen in the game. Sense. It was just to make 2 regular humans be able to jump really high
and just throw out their names.
And even then, they didn't jump; they kind of flew. Yeah, they were like Iron Man shoes.
And they threw, they would throw out the name like, "Oh, I'm Mario and I'm Luigi, Mario."
Yeah, and that wasn't like canon.
Yeah, no. What the fuck were the Goombas?
Oh no, they're terrible. By the way, this is the only movie. When Bob Hoskins was asked about his career, he said he regretted doing the only movie.
I regret watching it.
You got to give John Leguizamo some credit because, like, he was new.
Yeah.
And he was young. And Super Mario Brothers is a huge property. Oh, yeah. You would feel like, if I'm getting in that movie, I'm getting famous.
And this movie is like early 90s, so right now, this is like... Mario is just skyrocketing.
That being said, Bob Hoskins had a huge career before this. Yeah. He should have known better when he saw that script. I feel like he owed somebody a credit. And then you had Dennis Hopper being fucking Bowser.
He was Koopa. This was before they called him Bowser.
Right.
Which why did they ever change that? Do we know? Are Koopa and Bowser different, or are they the same?
No. In Japan, he was called King Koopa. And that's why they're the Koopa Troopas. I don't know why they call him Bowser here in the West.
In America, originally, he was based after Mike Bowser, and they switched it to...
M. Bowser.
M. Bowser. So they switched it to Koopa.
Yeah, and then the Balrog became that monster in Lord of the Rings.
Exactly. That makes sense.
Jesus Christ.
No.
Coming full circle.
I just can't stand any of it.
Okay, so let's talk about right out of the gate. The movie starts with a voiceover. Is it Bob Hoskins, the voiceover? Where he's like, what if when the meteor who hit the planet killed all the dinosaurs, it actually separated into 2 worlds where the dinosaurs would evolve and become just like you and me? And it's like, yeah, what if that happened?
So damn it, now I need to watch it again.
You know, that's the Mushroom Kingdom.
Okay, but no, is it? Like, I know you go to the dinosaur world in Super Mario, but that's not canon. That's never established.
No. Shigeru Miyamoto has actually said that the canon games of Super Mario are a play and that Bowser and Mario and Luigi and all those people, they put on these little plays where Mario's always the hero. That's why they go-karting together and they play tennis together, is because they're all friends.
Okay.
And they're just actors.
And they have a lot of parties.
Yeah. But when they're actually like Bowser and Mario, that's just because that's their Romeo and Juliet.
Which makes sense.
Which is, yeah. I mean, that's for instance why
That makes the
Super Mario 3 looks like a set.
yeah.
And that's a fan theory that was well known. But Shigeru Miyamoto was like, no, all of them are that.
Yeah.
That's why it was all just a dream in Super Mario 2.
Yeah.
It's not because we stole everything from Doki Doki Panic.
It would be. Oh, I mean, and then
it's actually because they stole everything from Doki Doki Panic.
well, and the newer ones, like, isn't it like Mario Galaxy supposed to be like a storybook you're reading?
Yeah,
no.
absolutely. It's just it's a story within a story. But the actual story is that Mario and Bowser are just weird-looking people
Yeah.
I mean, that play tennis together.
But in
and
this,
go-karting.
but in this, the meteor hit the planet, but separated.
Yeah,
into
when
two
the meteor
planets.
hit the Earth, it's separated into two different dimensions.
Right.
One in which the dinosaurs survived and evolved,
Right.
and one in which they died out.
So Toadstool Peach is born in the one kingdom and then taken to Earth.
Yes, because there is a race of people,
Human dinosaurs.
kind of.
She hatches from an
Well,
egg.
I mean,
Doesn't she hatch
yeah,
from an egg?
they're all human dinosaurs.
Doesn't make any sense.
Because it's not until Koopa gets hit by the de-evolution gun that he.
That he becomes.
I can't believe
he goes
this
back to
movie
being
got
that
made.
he goes back to being a dinosaur.
He becomes a monster. Yeah.
Listen, if you're listening to us right now saying, why are they spending this even any amount of airtime talking about this movie? What the hell is this? Now you have to go see it.
Maybe it's because almost every time I watch this movie, I'm drunk. But I love it so much. I bought it on DVD. I have it in my home.
I might have to take it with me when I leave. Or find it somewhere.
Yeah. It's just great because like when he hits that when they come into the human world and Koopa hits that like the mayor, I think, with the de-evolution gun, he turns into a chimp and he's like, look at him, he's a little monkey. It's like,
Let me just I guess to try and wrap.
trust the fungus.
We could sit here and talk about every single aspect of this movie that's so bad. I'm just gonna save the trouble and say it might be the worst movie I've ever seen. Period.
It might be the worst movie ever made.
Yeah.
But again, it's not so mad it makes me angry. It's so mad it makes me laugh, or so bad it makes me laugh.
Right. It's so bad. At the time, it made me very confused as a child when I first saw it, wondering, when's Mario going to show up?
It's so weird. It's like if Mario woke up in the Blade Runner universe,
Yeah.
and then just had a little adventure.
Yeah.
It's dark and gritty. The cities are wet and gross.
Honestly, it reminded me of like, because when you're a kid and you see something become live action, like in real life, you're like, oh, that's what it looks like in real life, and like it makes you feel the joy, right? It was like finding out that Santa is like a meth addict or something. Like it just crushed my hopes and dreams.
And then this movie had the balls, the chrome-plated balls, to give us an end movie sequence that set up a sequel that everyone who watched that movie ultimately said at the same time, well, that ain't gonna happen.
Don't
Remember where Peach comes busted in and she's got like a gun and like battle scars and she's like, I need your help. And they're like, all right, let's get going.
Which I think
Mario, we gotta get going to save the princess.
I think it's pretty like common courtesy not to do that, not to end your movie with a so stay tuned for part 2, unless you know for damn sure there's going to be a part 2.
Like
the Marvels they're the only ones who can do it.
Well, yeah, because those movies give you like golden plated cocaine money.
Yeah, like
this movie, they were like, come on, it's Mario. We're going to get at least a sequel out of it. Boom, 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 boom.
Oh god, it's so bad. Right,
they were like big bucks, no whammies, no whammies. Doom, 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 doom.
For me, I need to figure out who directed that movie so I could send him a meme.
I'm gonna Google it right now.
Keep letter. But no. So for me, the Super Mario Brothers film absolutely gets a 0 out of 10.
And for me, it gets a good.
The number one,
but because it's so bad, it's good.
Worst video game movie ever.
Hang on one second.
Another honorable mention to just end on a happy note: Doom, which we talked about before. Doom's not horrible. It's not horrible. I'd give it a 5.
It's dumb.
It's-
that was before The Rock really was good at acting.
He was still The Rock
He
then.
was he was still a professional wrestler, so he would just yell his lines
Yeah.
and look almost directly into camera.
Right. I mean,
By
I'd
the way,
give it a
the
5.
directors for that was Rocky Morton and Annabelle Jankel.
It's got a 4 out of 10 on IMDb and a 15% on Rotten Tomatoes. Who are those 15 who gave it a good rating? Or is it,
I don't know. 15% of them. I mean, if 8,000 people did it, 15%. You
Right.
know. But I think that's only 1% less than
Batman v Superman?
Batman v Superman.
That is atrocious. This is why I hate fucking Rotten Tomatoes so much with all my heart.
I'm actually gonna look that up right now.
I think Batman v Superman was higher than that. Suicide Squad probably lower though,
Let's see. Batman v Superman's sitting at a 28.
which is so stupid.
All right, let's see what Suicide Squad was real quick. I know we're using up time. Suicide Squad's 26. So it's a little less than Batman
what
v
are we
Superman.
pandering? We're just pandering right now.
Stalling? Pandering is when you're trying to really reach out to someone.
Oh,
Like if
wait. So what you're saying is, so you all should follow us on Twitter and
yeah.
SoundCloud and YouTube and Facebook and iTunes and SoundCloud
and Siri.
and Siri.
You sound like a guy Siri. Yeah, make sure you follow us on all the things. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. You can also, at least on YouTube, I know of, you can hit the little bell that gives you the notifications. So anytime we put up a new episode, you'll get a little thing on your phone that says, hey, listen to this shit.
If you subscribe on podcast on your Apple device, it will also give you a little notification.
Yes.
And
Same with the Castbox app.
feel free to also comment, message, direct message.
You can even email us at thestrongandthegeek@gmail.com. You can follow me personally at The Ben Ramirez. You can follow him at RamResForPrez, and you can follow us on Twitter at StrongandGeek.
Make sure you stay tuned next week when we'll be talking about more stuff strong.
And more stuff geek. Chicka chicka.
Strong and geek. The strong and the geek every week. Fuck the Super Mario Bros. movie. Welcome to the musical post-credits scene, where we discuss all of the things we hate the most about shitty video game movies in song.
Yeah. Uvable, you can go fuck yourself.
Tomb Raider 2? Why'd you keep Angelina Jolie's clothes on for longer than you needed to?
Super Mario Brothers movie. Why didn't you ever make that sequel?
Warcraft. More like war crap.
Assassin's Creed movie. Assassin's Crud movie.
What he's really saying is, Jesus Christ, I just wanted you to be good.
Crud balls.
Crud balls. Doom? You're okay.
The Arkham series is basically just the Nolan trilogy in video game format.